welcome back. So today I'm here with another readathon TBR for you. I know I've been doing so many readathons lately. It's just been kind of fun. It's been a great way to get myself reading other genres and I've really been enjoying doing it. So today I'm here to share my TBR for the Books in the Freezer Readathon, and this is all about reading horror novels, which is something that I've slowly gotten a little bit more into. I don't have a lot on my TBR for this, but I did have a decent number, surprisingly more than I had expected. And so this seemed like a really great way of getting through some of the books that are on my list, and it also just sounded really fun. The Books in the Freezer Readathon is being hosted by Stephanie over at That's What She Read, and I think she has a co-host that is connected to the podcast that she runs that's all about reading horror novels. This readathon will be taking place in October, as is probably appropriate. It begins October 1st and it runs through October 14th, which is actually kind of great. So you get 2 weeks to do this, which should give you plenty of time to be able to meet all of the challenges if you want to participate. I have some books that are on my TBR that are possibilities for this that I think will meet all of the challenges. So let's get into what books I have and the challenges that they meet. Challenge number 1 is read a horror book by a female author. And actually, most of the books on my list are written by female authors. So I will mention as I get to each of these books which of them would count for challenge number 1, but I think that should be a pretty easy one for me to get to because the majority of these books are by female authors. Challenge number 2 is to read an anthology or a short story collection. For this, I want to read a book that I got in a book box last year. It is Sleepy Hollow and Other Short Stories by Washington Irving. This cover, guys, is just beautiful. I have read Sleepy Hollow in the past, but I have not read any of his other short stories, and this seems like a great way to also get some classic literature into my life, and I think they're all kind of classic horror stories. So it's a pretty short book, which those are always great for readathons. This is what, like 120 pages, should be easy to get to, and I think this would be a really fun one to pick up, so this is going to meet that challenge. Next is to read a book featuring a person of color or a queer person. My pick for this is Lovecraft Country by Matt Ruff. This is a book featuring a person of color as a main character. This is actually one that I've really been wanting to get to for a while. My husband and I started reading a little bit of it, but then just kind of never got back to it, and I don't know how interested he actually is, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and read this one on my own, but I'm really excited. I've heard some really good things about it. This is sort of a Lovecraft-inspired story set in 1954, and it is about a young black man going on a cross-country road trip in America and encountering some supernatural Lovecraftian things, but I think the twist on this is that the truly horrific pieces of this are the racism that he encounters, and so this seems very up my alley. I've heard some really great things about it, and I've been wanting to get to it for several months now, so I'm really excited to use this as an opportunity to pick it up, and it seems like the perfect fit for this challenge. The next challenge is to read a book that has a movie adaptation, and there's a few options for this. Sleepy Hollow does have movie and television adaptations. I've actually also heard that Lovecraft Country is going to be getting a movie adaptation as well. That is not out yet, so that's not going to count for this, but it is getting one. Another book on my TBR that has a movie adaptation, and this is actually a movie adaptation I have not seen, so maybe I'll read this book and watch the movie because I've been wanting to. It's been kind of on my list, but not very high up for a while. This is World War Z by Max Brooks. I have heard the book is quite different from the movie. I know my husband actually listened to the audiobook of this a while back and saw the movie and thought that the book was better, but I have not read or seen either one of them, so I've been wanting to. It's been on my shelf. I actually think this was in my very first book haul, and it's one of the ones that I've not gotten to yet, so this seems like the perfect opportunity. So if you're not familiar, this is kind of a zombie story at the end of the world where things get taken over by zombies. I'm sure you've probably heard of it, and there is a movie adaptation. Next is read a book recommended on the podcast. World War Z was mentioned on the podcast. Lovecraft Country was mentioned on the podcast. So either of those books will meet that challenge. And then finally, like I said, there was the challenge of reading a horror book that is written by a female author. For this, I have 4 books to share with you. First, I have a couple of arcs that I needed to get to, and this seemed like a great way to get them into my reading in October. The first one is The Dark Deep by Ali Condi and Brendan Reichs. I actually think this includes a character who's a person of color. I'm not entirely sure, but this is a middle grade horror story. I don't know a whole lot about it, but the cover is awesome. This one comes out October 2nd, and it is one I need to get to, so it seems like a really good one to pick up. I will probably pick this up early on in the readathon, and middle grade books are always really fast to get through. Yeah, this one's like not even 300 pages, like a little over 250 pages, so that'll be really easy to breeze through, and it looks really fun. The next arc that I want to get to, which is also by a female author, is Scribe by Allison Haggie, and I'm pretty sure this one is kind of like a horror novel, and it's also really short. Oh my gosh, it's like 150 pages, yes. So it says, it's in the aftermath of a brutal civil war and the deadly spread of contagious fevers, abandoned farmhouses litter remote valleys, and the economy has been reduced to barter and trade. The main character ekes out a lonely living on her family farmstead. Oh, yeah. But then there's like some kind of creepy stuff that starts happening, and so it says it draws on Appalachian history. Yeah, anyway. So this one sounds super interesting. It's really short, so I'm looking forward to this, and this seems like a great way to fit this one in. And this one is coming out October 2nd, so I guess I should pick those, probably should pick those up at the beginning of the readathon. Okay, I have 2 other books by female authors that I would like to get to, and so this seems like a great way to fit them in. The first is The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. This is like a YA horror thriller. I did start it, I never finished it, and I was very intrigued by what I did read. This actually came up in my try a chapter tag, and then I just like never got around to finishing it, but I do want to finish it, so I'm going to throw it into my TBR for this readathon. And then the final one that I have is The Killing Jar by Jennifer Bosworth. I picked this up a while back on Book Outlet, I think because I saw it on I Don't Have a Degree in Readings channel. I think she read it, I think she liked it, but it involves a girl who has been through some kind of trauma and then goes to a commune and weird things start happening, which sounds really cool. So I've been excited to get to that one, and this seems like a really nice way to put it on my TBR. So there you go. Those are all of the books that I plan on reading for the Books in the Freezer Readathon. Let me know if you guys plan on participating and what you're going to be reading. I am really looking forward to this. This seems like a really fun way to get ready for Halloween, and yeah, these just seem like great books to read. And it's also going to cross over New York City Comic Con, so I'm kind of glad we have 2 weeks because I will be attending like 3 days of Comic Con, so it's going to be pretty busy. I will vlog that, by the way. Actually, let me know if you guys are going to be attending New York City Comic Con. I'd love to meet up with you. All right. Side note there. I will mention that in another video maybe too. But yeah, talk to me in the comments down below. If you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.